Greetings, I'm Devane and welcome to my new Let's Play of Avernum. This is the original by Spiderweb Software, not the remake, and I've been wanting to do this for a while because while I like Avernum and I'm particularly interested in seeing how franchises basically evolve over time, and well, this game is 16 years old and is Spiderweb Software's first RPG that goes through several iterations, and they're now being remade with their latest gameplay engine. So while it's there seeing Avernum escape from the pit, getting the original Avernum will give you some idea of basically how the franchise started, and takes us all the way back to Spiderweb Software's humble beginnings. Now bear in mind there is going to be a lot of reading, and there's probably very little there's probably going to be very little music and stuff as such in terms of web media. This is a very text heavy game, so you get to hear my droning voice go on about various bits and bobs. So as always, if you like what you see here and whatever, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and most of all comment if there's things you'd like me to change, like if you want me to stop waffling. Okay, first off we will look at creating our party. Now to be fair, I mean I could read all of these. We've got a series of classes, and as your standard RPG you do really want your 4 basic classes. You want a fighter, a rogue or ranger to deal with traps and who's also good at range fighting, soldier who's good up front as your tank, a healer who can be put to other tasks maybe. I mean, clerics often make good line fighters, but priests on the other hand do not, depending on how fragile they are, and someone to do with magic. Mixing these up a bit can give you a stronger party, but when you're starting out, sticking with these 4 main types is usually going to do you good. And for that, well, we do have a default starting party of Philip, Melissa, Rosanna. Is it Rosanna? Rosalia and Mycroft. So we will we won't bother changing any of them as such. I'll just give you a brief rundown because this is probably going to feature mostly setting up my character, doing the introductions and getting through the first bits of the game, I imagine. First off, I mean, we got soldier. Soldiers received excellent military training on the surface, the best the Empire had to offer. They're very good with all sorts of weapons. We also have berserkers. Berserkers are wild swordsmen from the remote areas of the Empire. Their ordnance tends to get them dumped into Avernum. They're extremely hardy and their sword skill is unmatched. Now, they're your 2 basic warrior types. You have a sword specialist, or you have your standard military soldier, which, we'll stick with let's have a look. We'll stick with this is the berserker, who has high strength, fairly high strength, higher dexterity, extremely high melee weapon skill, which is for swords, but the rest of his aren't very good. Except he's got some useful skills as well, but mostly it's all about melee weapons for him and a bit of defense. For a more all-rounded warrior, you have the soldier, which has strength and dexterity. Melee weapons is down a bit, but pole weapons, i.e. spears and stuff, goes up a bit more, and slightly more rounded again down here, with the useful skills. So we will keep him. What we will do is we'll go to traits, and turn off Elite Warriors. These traits can give you bonuses and makes things easier, but the XP that you get is reduced if you take a positive one, or if you slightly insane, you can take a negative one, like completely inept, which gives you a massive bonus to XP, but you really are setting yourself up for a hard task there. So you'll notice that we've got some unused skill points. Now we could add these here, for example, but I'm not going to bother because I want to show you training as early as possible so you can get some idea of what we're doing. So we've got our health, which is how much damage we can take, although they don't need it because we haven't got any magical skills at all. Got spell energy, there's some poison resistance and some other bits there. Okay, we don't have any potion making ability or anything else, so that is Philip done for now. Melissa, well, we got Melissa as a rebel, which is a good all-round class. We also have, but we'll go through the options. I mean, you got the rogue, good with swords and able to handle locks and traps. They also tend to walk off with things they don't own. Unsurprisingly, the Empire loves to send them to Avernum. So we'll have a look at that, which will give us high dexterity, good sword skill, and incredibly high tool use. This is the one for picking locks and disarming traps. That's for your rogue, which is fairly good. But whereas the next one down is the archer. Archers were either hunters or trained members in the Empire Army, highly skilled with missile weapons. In the Empire Army, a dishonourable discharge tends to mean exile to Avernum. Now, if we look at the archer, their tool use is actually quite, well, pants, but they're excellent with bows. So, for your ranged fighter, an archer is pretty much the way to go. But either way, what we want, or we're going to go with, is the rebel. Some people dare to rebel against the Empire. They have to be good at everything if they want to survive, though they don't have the freedom to excel at one thing. A rebel tends to have some skill with weapons, traps and lore. So if we look there, you'll see that we've got an average-ish, but still fairly good bows. We're still good with swords, but our tool use is still high. And they have a slight bonus with potion making, which means that we've got... So they're pretty much all-rounded. Although they're good at potion making, it's a bit of a waste, but it's good if they need it to make potions for someone else, and I'll show you that later on. For now, all you need to know is that you can make a number of potions. For example, with 2 you can make a healing potion and a curing potion. And I'll show you make these later. So they're good benefits for that. But she's not going to be our potion making specialist. We will keep Melissa as our rebel, however, because A, that's how it's set up as a default party, and B, it gives us a fair balance between tool use and ranged attacks. Plus, she strike good, so she gets close. She can be a secondary fighter. So we'll now have Rosella as our cleric. Now, clerics are fun as such because you've got clerics basically specialise in melee magic. Okay, we do that. See if I can get it. A cleric is a priest in one of the faiths disapproved by the Empire. They have excellent healing and protective skills, although they often end up having to use them in Avernum. If we look at that, the specialist is that they have priest spells, quite a bit of first aid, fairly good with melee weapons, but the main point is, and they have some arcane lore. Okay, we're going to be a cleric, there's no doubt about it, really. But to show you some of the other types, look, Mycroft is the sorcerer, which is sorcerers are practitioners of the wizardly arts. Their spells are powerful, both on offence and defence. Alas, because of their dangerous research and eccentricities, they tend to be sent down to Avernum. Now, if we look at Mycroft, you'll see that our mage has mage spells but no priest spells. And the sorcerers also have a higher potion making and they have arcane lore as well. Arcane lore is your ability to use spells, and it's usually combined amongst the party. So having the priests and having the sorcerer will give you a very high arcane lore because it checks the whole scores. We'll get rid, for the same reason, we'll get rid of our natural mage for two reasons. Basically, like I said, they give us bonus. In the case of natural mage, it gives you bonuses when casting spells, but it also means that you can cast spells while wearing armour, which is good and great for survivability, but it's not really magey when you can be a spellcaster, and if you work on their strength, you can actually still tank them out. So yes, but yeah, we have mage skills and we have priest skills in Rosella. Alternatively, you might consider a hedge wizard. Hedge wizards live in remote villages of the Empire where they help the locals with their magical skills. This sort of character is good at magery, has an ideal bit of training, has a little bit of training play skills, and has a bit of practice in making potions. Okay. They're basically what we see here, if you look at the editors, is that they have both mage and priest skills, and they have arcane lore and potion making. So they're basically a cleric and a sorcerer, but without any of the fighting skills. So if you wanted to go for if you wanted to combine or have a number of, or a flexible party, that might be a way to go. The last type we could go with is the shaman. Shamans are the priests of the back hills. A shaman isn't quite as good at spells as a cleric, but makes up for it with weaponry and knowledge of herbs. Shamans are hardy folk, but their wilderness tends to make them run afoul of the Empire. And if we look here, you will see that they have weakened priest skills, but their weapon skills are a lot more, so it's a combat cleric. So the reason I showed you that is because if you wanted to pick a healer, you could go for either cleric, shaman, or hedge wizard. But we will go cleric because we want to have our sorcerer. The alternative being to the sorcerer for mage classes is going to be the hedge wizard, which means gives us more healing. So we have two healers, but it reduces the spells we start with for magic. So this sort of basic 4-stroke specialization, you can bear in mind that all of these classes are just templates. You can evolve them however much you wish. So you don't have to. Mycroft can, for example, tank out and become a fighter if that's what you want him to do. He doesn't have to be a soldier. It's just the template that he starts with. The last one at the bottom is, we go to character name, is the custom class. Skilled Avernum players can make their own custom characters. Custom characters start with 60 skill points you can allocate to make your ideal adventure. So let's just say we'll make them custom. Everything starts at basics. We've got 65. Take off the natural mage, and we can create whatever we want. So say we wanted Let's say, okay, we want someone who's quite tough, so we'll give them a couple of things in that. Might decide to make him a rogue mage, for example, so let's give him some dexterity, go with that to give him some intelligence as well, weaken strength, there we go, and we can do this, and they'll go, okay, well what we'll do for our intelligence, it's got a bit of arcane law, got a bit of potion making, we've got our range stuff here, so what we'll do is we might give them, say, a couple of basic levels in mage and priest skills. That gives them good things, and we want to go with bows. Can increase that a bit more. Taurus. There we go. And that's pretty much it. So we've got someone who's fairly good, who's got the basics there. They're quite tough. We might want to say, alright, we need to free up some points, so we'll take them down. That allows us to boost up, say, a mage and priest skill, for example. Give them a bit of melee weapons as well to go with, and therefore you've got your own class made out there. Who's got a bit of everything, but he's primarily rogue for dexterity and mage priest for intelligence. Now the interesting thing is that mage spells and priest spells all come from the same sort of magic, so they're sharing from the same pool. You aren't saying, well, you've got mage spells and then priest spells and you've got to have two different pools. They all come from the same one. In this case, for example, if we go to our usual skills, has spell energy, which is 4 times the combination of intelligence, magic or mage spells, and priest for priest spells. So we've got quite a lot there. There's 6 there, plus our intelligence 4 gives us 10 times 10, so we've got 40. And as we improve our mage spells and our intelligence, all of this will go up. So, and that's pretty much it for characters. We'll have that done, and we'll go back to having Mycroft as our sorcerer. Edit our statistics. We will just edit, make sure natural mage is off, because I don't want natural mage and we want one to show you the rough speed. Okay, so there's our just check, off, 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 and off. Right, like I said, we got Rosella Howe Cleric, so we'll look at the priest spells. She has these 6 spells. We have healing, curing, battle rage, shielding. Now they're your basic ones, and because we've got a priest skill of at least 3, we get repel, spirit, and smite for at least 4 that we can learn. Can learn summon, shade, safe travel, etc. And they're all learned at first rank. Basically, as you can upgrade the spells to higher levels, in which case they have more abilities. If you find a specialist trainer, they can teach you up to 2nd rank, but you can only find 3rd ranks in specific areas during the game. Sorry, I've spoken a lot, so my voice is going a bit. Okay, so we'll have, so I've showed you that a little bit. We'll go into that in more details. For Mycroft, our mage spells, we have Bolt of Fire, Light, Call Beast, which are your basics one, Call Beast, Bind Foe, and Haste and Slow, with basically Ice Lances, unlock doors and so on. Well, as ones we can learn. Once again, these are at 1st level. We can learn third in specific places, and if we can find specialists, we can learn second ones. See, Mycroft, although we have a higher potion maker skill, we got 4. We don't actually learn to make the potions until, well, until we find the recipes. So while we still only have healing potions and curing potions. So whether we decide to make Melissa have some potions, or whether we focus on keeping it on the sorcerer, pretty much depends on what we're going to do in game. But with that done, we're done. There are 4 special characters you can find in the game which will replace these, and they're quite powerful and often better than what you can create. But I doubt I will be using them for the simple reason I don't see the point in creating and advancing a character if you're just going to find and replace them later in the game. There's just no point. So while I might point them out to you if I find them, and I might be able to save some, there are places you can retire characters to rest while you have someone else in the party, which I might do. The exception is if they die and I can't raise them, I might go and find them. But we'll see how that goes. But for now, the intent is I'm going to stay with Philip the soldier, Melissa the rebel, Rosella the cleric, and Mycroft the sorcerer. And we start the game. You are never going to see sunlight again. You will never breathe fresh air, or be warm, or feel safe. That is your punishment. For your crimes, you are to be thrown into a magical portal and banished to Avernum, never to return. What was your crime? Not what you might think. Not murder, or arson, or crimes against other people. No, your crime was against the Empire, ruled by the cruel Emperor Hawthorne. You spoke out against an unjust law, or you angered some politician, or you may just have been a misfit. Not being able to fit in is a crime in the Empire. Thus you are being sent to Avernum. It is not a different land. After all, the Empire controls the entire surface of the world. All 4 continents have completely submitted to its rule. No, Avernum is a series of caverns, far below the surface of the world. It is a dark, subterranean prison, a place where exiles like yourself spent the rest of their lives far from the light. What is it like there? Nobody on the surface knows. All they know is that it is dark and unpleasant, and that it is a place to be regarded only with fear. Some people believe that there is no air, warmth or food, and death comes with merciful speed. Others believe that there is enough food to enable Avernites to enjoy a miserable, worm-like existence, until of course, the monsters get you. And a few believe that Avernum is a paradise, a subterranean land of pleasure and relief, and of freedom from the Empire's iron rule. People mad enough to believe Avernum is paradise soon end up there themselves. They don't really know what it is like. Nobody on the surface does, but soon you will. There is no appeal to the judge's decision. Early one morning, in a low stone building far from any city, you are taken to a teleporter. You breathe clean, fresh air one last time. Then they throw you in. Okay, now I've got the help up. So, welcome to Avernum. If you need help getting started, you can bring up the instructions by hitting F1, yada yada yada. Read the beginner's tutorial, move around, blah blah blah. Okay, but you don't need a tutorial because I can tell you this. We have your main map. Now unfortunately we're playing this full screen because it's the only way to record it without having it trapped into a corner, because this runs on a very low resolution, and because it's old. There's our party with, and on the map, and there's some bits and bobs. We have where we are, the time and year. There's no actual time, so it's based on days and resting and stuff. We have our message screen. These are our action buttons. This is our characters. See, you can switch places. You can also open up the info screens that we've got, so you can see what's going on. And this is our inventory. So it's a regular paper doll thing. We've got a stone short sword for Philip, a fail, which does 2d6 -1 damage. We also have some leather armour, which blocks various bits of damage. And we have some food for him. Now, I tend to give my food to the cleric. Well, most of my healing items go to the cleric, to be honest, because usually the cleric can heal anyone else, so the one who most needs to use those potions is going to be the cleric to keep themselves alive. Although Melissa starts with the image has a bow, her paper doll doesn't have a bow, so she's not got it. And there's she's wearing a pair of pants or trousers. You can tell that this is American. And she's got short sword and a wooden buckler. Now, give that to Rosella. This is a candle which we can use to provide light. Now, since light is a mage spell in this game, I tend to give light items to Mycroft simply so that he can use them as if they're magical objects. To be honest, they're not, but you know, it's easy just for sorting out purposes. And we'll look at Rosella. Rosella's basically got a sword. She's also got a cloak, which I could move to Philip, but I won't bother. I'll pick one up soon enough. And then, of course, we've got Mycroft, who is wearing a robe. And we will show you to cast some mage spells. We get a button here with our various spells that we can use. Light, Cool Beast, Haste. Now I want to show you something. I think we can still wear leather armour. I'm not entirely sure, so we'll go with Mycroft. Yep, we can wear leather armour because so it's not completely, you know, you're not completely defenseless and having stuck with just robes as a mage. But the heavier armours like steel and plate and whatnot, going to be, if you end up wearing them, you can't cast spells. Clerics don't have that restriction for pre-spells. And last but not least, we've got the auto map, which is useful for seeing where we've been and where we're not. Now the thing is, this is basically mostly done by keyboard, so there are keyboard shortcuts. For example, we will have look, search and use, that's L. We'll see, we can see various bits, like for example, we'll look at A, it's a sign on the cave floor. B, which is here, looks to be a guard. And D is a townsman. Don't know what this is just yet. Well, you also have mage spell. Look, see pre-spells that can be cast. Healing, curing, yada. Okay, you can wait a turn, which just basically spends a move. Nothing moves until you do, and if you wait, that can allow them to bypass and stuff. You can talk to people. So we got we can try talking to a guard, for example. It says he, she, it doesn't seem to want to talk to you. Not everyone chats here. If you want to get items, we would press that. There are no items nearby. To enter fighting mode, do that. the thing switch, so we can defend, delay action. We can do one PC party, shoot missile, auto combat, end combat, blah blah blah. So la la da da da. Have a go at some of that. Usability. There's our fire menu, but we will end combat. Use abilities. We don't actually have any abilities except, and is potion making. We have here make a potion, which basically got, if we need get healing herbs, we can make the healing potion, and if we have healing herbs, we can make a curing potion, which is fair enough. The other abilities that we have are first aid, can delete the character, change the character name, or change the graphics. Okay. Still stunned from your trip through the portal, you stumble down the rocky hill. As your vision clears, you look around at the world of Avernum for the first time. You're inside what looks like some sort of fort. It is made of huge blocks of stone, roughly mortared together. Wood must be rare down here, only the doors are made of it. There are a few trees nearby, strange things, more fungus than wood. It is not as cold as you thought it would be. In fact, it's very warm and moist, and the smell of sulphur hangs heavily in the air. There must be volcanic vents down here. Even though you're far, far underground, you can still see fairly well. The stone roof far above you is covered with a thick layer of growing fungus, which bathes everything in a sickly greenish light. Thanks to this light, you can get a clear idea of your surroundings. In particular, you can see a small pale man waiting at the base of the hill. He seems to be here to greet you. Now, if we wanted to record that, we can, but just press OK. We're done now for that. It's our basic. Can we go back? Well, let's have a look. See what we've got. We've got read journal. Well, we've got nothing in the journal because we haven't recorded it. It's your file menu and the help menu. Let's have a look at the menu now. We've got it easy because I like playing on easy simply because, and it sounds stupid, it allows you to enjoy the story more without worrying too much about specific strategies as such. So you're less likely to die, but it's less of a challenge. But with this and a lot of reading, you don't want to be forced to repeat for big, scary battles. Trust me, there's going to be enough of them as it is anyway. Because even on easy, it's easy to get into areas out of your depth without a guide. Game speed is medium for normal. So yeah, it's all done. Well, it's just over half an hour of me waffling, so I will show you just one thing to get out of the way. So we will try entering the portal again. You return to the arrival portal. It is a tall, glowing pillar of energy, almost 20 feet high. The air around it is blisteringly hot. The greatest magicians on the surface worked in concert to create it. Many of them later ended up down here once Emperor Hawthorne started to fear their power. Perhaps, if you stepped back inside, you would end up back on the surface. Who knows? Maybe nobody has ever tried it. Of course they've tried it, and it'd be the first thing everyone tries. It's the first thing we tried, but let's see what happens. We're not going to die horribly. Possibly not. But let's try. You start to walk back into the portal. The heat is incredible. As you get closer to that awesome power of energy, your skin starts to blister and sear. You back away before it kills you. The Empire did its work well. There must be a way back to the surface. This isn't it. Okay, that's the one telling us that we're just taking some damage, which of course is quite a lot. We're taking 10 damage from fire. But that's not a problem because we're not going to get into a lot of fighting in what is essentially the starting town for now. So with that, I'll leave it here. We'll just walk down, and well, because you have to be next or near to signs to read them. So, for example, if we look at sign A, it says, "Welcome to Avernum. See Tor for supplies before you leave Fort Avernum." Who's Tor? Do we know who Tor is? We're going to find out. But for now, the second sign here, let's see. You read the sign. "By proclamation of King Micah, there is no anarchy here. Those who harm others will be banished to the abyss or slain." The abyss does not sound good. Now, and here's of course is the guy to meet us at the bottom. We'll try talking to him. Who is, thank you for telling us we're now talking to someone. We can now be called. We have no gold. You meet a small man. He smiles at you nervously. His skin is incredibly pale and in the strange light of the fungus. And then we have our two dialogue options. Now these are dialogue trees. I'm going to read out the dialogue the first time we come across it, because back in his old days, having realistic NPCs wasn't all that good. So it used to be dialogue trees, and sometimes you could go back and go down the other trees for conversational hints, which often meant repeating to find them. So let's go with, okay, why are you standing here? I wait for new arrivals such as yourselves and welcome them. He bows. Welcome to Avernum. So we're in Avernum. What's Avernum? Avernum is what we call this place. In days of old, Avernum was the name of the underworld, where lost souls were sent to be punished. Sort of makes sense. He smiles sadly. Avernum, what does that mean? In ancient times, Avernum was one of the names of the underworld. It was the place where souls were sent when their lives were over. Appropriate, yes? So you're just repeating the same thing you said before, just to make sure we got it. We're in the underworld. Our lives are over. Oh dear. Okay, why are you welcoming us? It's my job. I'm here to ease the considerable shock of being cast into the underworld, of course. So, welcome to the underworld. He pauses to think. Also, I'm here to say where you can get information about Avernum and supplies. Supplies? Someone will give us things? To prevent certain problems, new arrivals are sent to Tor to get modest supplies to support themselves until they find work. He's in the building to the south. We've found doing otherwise results in desperate, dangerous and violent new citizens. This way you'll have a fair chance. What you do with it when you leave here is your business, which reminds me, be sure to go and see Fell for information. Information is always useful. Where should I go? Burl is the town sage. He lives and works in a building just a bit to the southwest. He's a bit glum, but he does his job well. He will answer your questions as best he can. Of course, you should get supplies first. Okay, now we've got the I'm also curious about this, which is basically a way of returning up a branch or a couple of branches and dialogue. So yeah, Andrew nods to you and waits to see if you have any more questions. Can I go back into the portal? I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a wise idea. Someone tried an experiment once. It was messy. Ask Acacia about it. She was there. And then we've got the why are you standing here and repeating that tree. So what we will do is we will leave that and we will save it there. So we're left with several questions. We know we can get somewhere to get replies, somewhere for information, and to talk to Acacia about what happened when someone tried walking back through the portal. We know what happens when we try to walk through it. We got burnt, but maybe something else happened. Who knows? Well, these are all mysteries that we will find out while exploring Avernum. For now, we will save. Go to Avernum out here. one. As you know, it goes back in, as you might. Wait, this is my file here, my file list, because we're going straight back. Not exactly brilliant. Being Windows and being pretty, it was pretty, yeah. But then that's good in a way. So we'll go to here, Avernum, let's play 1. There's our save, that keeps going. So far I've been Devane, I've done a lot of waffling as we do our introduction to Avernum. As always, if you like what you see, especially what you hear, please let me know, like, subscribe, share.